Hello and welcome. This is TVC News at 10. The rising insecurity in the country has continued to generate concerns. Over the weekend, more than 100 persons were killed in an attack on Plateau communities, and this is just one of the many attacks experienced in parts of the country. This time, at least 23 persons have been killed as suspected herders invaded Mbadwim and Teochew communities in Taraka local government area of Benue State. Chief Press Secretary to the State Governor, Nathaniel Ekyur, confirmed that about 8 persons were killed in Mbadwim, while 15 others died in Teochew. The statement also confirmed that several others were injured and have been taken to a hospital for treatment. Governor Samuel Otom condemned the killings, calling on the security agencies to do more in crime prevention and protecting the lives and properties of the people in the state. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered that perpetrators of the killings in Plateau State must not escape justice. The president, who described the killings in Kanam and Wase communities as heinous, directed law enforcement agencies to work strenuously with the government of the state to bring the situation under control and take steps to bring the culprits to justice quickly. In a statement signed by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the president expressed condolences over the terror incident. He stated that peace must return at all costs to the state and the entire country. Family members of victims who were kidnapped during the train attack in Kaduna have given the federal government a 72-hour ultimatum to rescue their loved ones unhurt. The relatives are threatened to explore other means if the government fails to do so within the stipulated time. According to them, the terrorists have insisted on negotiating only with the government. Lupe Asom reports.
It's all of the peaceful departed rest in perfect peace.
A minute of silence for the repose of the souls of the over 100 persons said to have been killed by suspected bandits in parts of Taraba and Plateau states. The lawmakers called for more.
We apologize for that mix-up. With the rising insecurity in the country, lawmakers have made fresh calls for proactive measures to ensure safety of residents in affected areas. The lawmakers condemned the killing of more than 100 citizens by bandits in a border town between Taraba and Plateau State. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
It's all of the peaceful departed rest in perfect peace.
A minute of silence for the repose of the souls of the over 100 persons said to have been killed by suspected bandits in parts of Taraba and Plateau states. The lawmakers called for more security presence in the affected areas before it degenerates.
The recent wanton killings and kidnapping in Baligasol Federal Constituency and other communities in Taraba and neighboring Plateau has claimed over 150 lives, several others injured, properties worth millions of naira destroyed, with over 5,000 internally displaced persons.
A bill to prohibit child trafficking and baby factories in the nation's capital, sponsored by Lagos member Samuel Adejare, received the support of members.
We don't have laws in our status books to govern the administration and registration of these orphanages in Federal Capital Territory. And this law will surely do this. And we will put to rest all these illegalities.
This bill, when it's passed, is going to curb this menace. And there shall be sanctions for people who do this kind of thing.
The House also moved closer to repealing the 63-year-old Nigeria Customs Act for a new law as the legislators adopted the report of its Committee on Customs.
Notable legislative initiatives in this bill are as follows. 1A, collation of all customs and excise legislation into a single compendium of Custom and Excise Acts to facilitate easy reference, easy knowledge-driven custom and excise policies.
A motion for more public sensitization and registration of births and deaths for proper demographic planning was also unanimously passed.
The National Population Commission has only managed to register the birth of 57% of children under the age of 5, thus making it difficult for government to plan adequately for their medical, nutritional,
A bill seeking to establish a trust fund for the NYSC to provide sustainable source of funds and skills acquisition now awaits presidential assent. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
Away from security, but still at the National Assembly, 2 senatorial seats have now been declared vacant. This follows the formal resignation of Senator Abdullah Adamu, representing Nasarawa West, and Abubakar Kyari, representing Borno North. The lawmakers tendered the resignation letters to the President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, informing him of their new roles as the National Chairman and Deputy National Chairman of the governing All Progressives Congress. Tijesu Adeoye reports.
At the National Assembly, 2 lawmakers officially tendered their resignation letters to assume their new roles at the APC Secretariat ahead of the 2023 general election.
Consequent upon my victory as national chairman at the just concluded convention of our great party, the All Progressives Congress APC, on the 26th of March 2022, I hereby formally resign as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, representing Nasarawa West Senatorial District with effect from 1st April 2022. Distinguished Senator Abubakar Kyari, Chairman Senate Committee on Federal Capital Territory, representing Borno Senatorial District. Your Excellency, letter of resignation. I'm writing formally to inform Your Excellency of my resignation from the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as the Senator representing Borno Senatorial District.
In another development, Abia North lawmaker and the Chief Whip of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Oji Uzo Kalu, at a separate event where he briefed the press, talked about what Nigerians should demand from political candidates vying for any elective position. He says politics is no joke and should be defined by public experience, capacity to build and manage people, and the ability to satisfy all parties.
Politics is not just his ability to make everybody happy. That is what it's all about. It's not who becomes president. President is about openness, it's about ability to manage you journalists, ability to manage mechanics, ability to manage professors, ability to manage legislators like Ahmed Lawan. You have to manage them. These are what politics is all about.
Now that the 2 Senate seats have been declared vacant, the Independent National Electoral Commission is expected to publish a new timetable for the conduct of a by-election in these constituencies to fill the vacant seats. From the National Assembly, Tijesu Adeoye, TVC News, Abuja.
Muhammadu Buhari has expressed optimism to expand Nigeria's maritime territory under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. The president assured the committee chaired by the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, of his full support on Nigeria's submission to the UN for additional maritime area under the recognized international convention. He commended the committee on the progress made so far and the dedication invested in the work within a short time, assuring them of all the support to conclude the project in good time.
It is my intention to support the submission to the United Nations for additional maritime area in accordance with the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, to claim for Nigeria every bit of space that she deserves under United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. It is pleasing to know that most wars that have taken place in the world since time immemorial, including present times, have always been territorial, and Nigeria has this one and only chance to gain territory without war.
Family members of victims who were kidnapped during the train attack in Kaduna have given the federal government a 72-hour ultimatum to rescue their loved ones unhurt. The relatives are threatening to explore other means if the government fails to do so within the stipulated time. According to them, the terrorists have insisted on negotiating only with the government. Lupe Assam reports.
Tears flow freely It has been 15 torturous days for these people whose loved ones were abducted by terrorists during the train attack on the 28th of March. Most of them say they now find it difficult to sleep, knowing their loved ones are languishing in the bandits' custody. Seeing some of them surrounded by armed bandits in the latest video released by the terrorists only make matters worse.
So we are assuming that there should be about 140 people that are still in captivity. We are just like living corpses. You know, it can be very agonizing not to know the conditions of your loved ones. These are people in the bush.
President Muhammadu Buhari, please come to our aid. Please, we are begging. This is barely 15 days. We're begging. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, you're a mother. If you're a mother, you know the cry of a baby. You know the cry.
They say the terrorists are only willing to negotiate with the government and have for 12 days refused to talk to them. But they're unhappy with the way the situation is being handled by the government and the Nigerian Railway Corporation.
We expected that by now, the government, the Nigerian Railway Corporation, the Ministry of Transportation, they're supposed to have identified relatives of these victims and address us to tell us what efforts they are making to rescue our loved ones. What they want is that they want to discuss with government, that they have something between them and government. We don't know what they have. It is now an opportunity for government. It's a window of opportunity for government to rescue our loved ones by opening channels of communication with them. This is not out of place. It is done anywhere in the world.
They are giving the government 72 hours to respond and secure their loved ones on hot. Failure to do so, they say, will leave them with no option but to explore other means.
72 hours to do what is necessary to bring out our loved ones. In the event that they fail to do it, we are ready to do what is necessary to secure our loved ones. But we know government is in a better position to do it.
They also say prayers for those abducted, calling on God to come to their rescue. Lupe Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.
The ECOWAS Commission has stressed the need to continue working to stabilize the West African region in order to give its women and youth a promising future. To this end, the Commission has been providing $1 million annually towards this project. This was expressed at a workshop with partners on best practices for stabilization of the region in Abuja. Moyo Thomas reports.
The conflict in West Africa and the Sahel poses untold developmental and stability challenges to the region. The situation has resulted in increasing poverty, especially in women and youth. To mitigate the instability in the region, the ECOWAS Commission has contributed $1 million annually since 2019. Other international donors have also made investments in communities turned by conflict and terrorism.
We must also support communities that are affected with stabilization programs, including public infrastructure such as the construction or rehabilitation of schools and health centers, support to women and the youth so that they can themselves be trained to get employed or start their own businesses.
To do that in a sustainable way, we need to build strong political partnerships within the governments and with the donor countries.
Beyond the donations and investments made, the sharing of information and knowledge in forms of lessons learned, as well as effective coordination, are important considerations for regional stabilization. This is what this two-day stakeholders workshop aims to achieve.
The stabilization, recovery, and development needs of our region are complex. They are complex, they are unique, requiring the robust mobilization of all resources, material and human, as well as the steady support of our esteemed partners to succeed.
It is only in having clarity on these issues and synergizing our actions that we can achieve our goal of living in terror-free and stabilized communities, countries, and indeed sub-region.
Stabilization plans such as these ensures development is ongoing in the northeast and the region, while solutions have been preferred to the root cause of this conflict. Moya Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, says Nigeria is presently facing learning poverty, with 70% of its 10-year-old children unable to understand a simple sentence or perform basic numeracy tasks. The UNICEF Chief of Field Office, Kano, made this known at a two-day media dialogue organized for journalists by UNICEF on SDG as a child right. Helen Osamide-Akins reports.
Education is the right of every Nigerian child, but several children today are deprived of these, with little or nothing being done. 1 in every 5 of the world's out-of-school children is in Nigeria, despite primary education being free and compulsory. Over 10 million Nigerian children are estimated to be out of school. A study facilitated by the United Nations Children's Fund shows that despite improved access as a result of the Basic Education Act, 70% of Nigerian students in school are not learning. UNICEF warns that this may degenerate into a grave learning crisis in Nigeria.
Achieving basic learning outcomes at the foundational level of education is key. It is clear that to improve learning outcomes in Nigeria, achieving basic foundational skills at that level of learning cannot be overemphasized.
The federal government is advised to focus more on the Child's Rights Act to achieve sustainable development goals on education.
As in every other field in Nigeria, there are policies that is implemented, who is oversighting it.
UNICEF believes in order to address the learning crisis, there must be a structural approach and constant data assessment in the country. Helen Osamide-Akins, TVC News, Abuja.
The federal government has declared Friday and Monday as holidays in commemoration of Easter celebrations. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, announced the holiday on behalf of the federal government. In a statement signed by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Shuaib Belgore, he explains that the federal government urged Christians to emulate the attributes of sacrifice, togetherness, forgiveness, kindness, love, peace, and patience, which were the attributes and practices of Jesus Christ, as exemplified by his ministry on earth. The Minister of Interior also called on Christians and all Nigerians alike to use the occasion of this year's Easter celebration to pray for an end to all security challenges bedeviling every part of the country. A bit of politics now. Governorship aspirants of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State have agreed to work together to ensure victory for the party at the polls in 2023. They acceded to this decision after their last meeting held in Port Harcourt. Senior reporter Uche Okoro has details.
In March 2023, more than 2 million registered voters in Rivers State will return to the polling units to elect a new governor. Even though the polls are still about 11 months away, the All Progressives Congress is not leaving anything to chance with its determination to win. These party chieftains all have an ambition to govern the state, and some have been given that opportunity in the past as flag bearers. But having lost out in the last 2 governorship elections, they believe this is their chance to finally rewrite the APC story in Rivers State. The plan is for all of them to rally support for whoever eventually emerges as the candidate of the party.
As a way of respecting the party supremacy, the aspirants resolve that immediately a candidate emerges, all aspirants will put self and ego aside and collapse their various campaign structures into the party structure to support the flag bearer to win the 2023 elections for the APC in Rivers State.
The governor of Rivers State for the last 16 years has come from the Ikwere ethnic nationality, and so these APC aspirants are advocating zoning of the governorship ticket in 2023 to the riverine part of the state.
The progressive aspirants agreed to consult other stakeholders, elder statesmen, opinion leaders, and key politicians in the state to support power rotation into the riverine Ijaw come 2023 as a way of ensuring equity, justice, and fairness in the distribution of political offices.
To put the interest of Rivers State and our party first above our own personal considerations. That is the purpose of this joint statement.
What we have come to do here is simply to make a bold statement that it's morning again in Rivers State.
Tomorrow, you will have it on record that if any of us here does not support the candidate that emerges, then such a person lacks credibility. That's why we're doing what we're doing here.
The forum also appealed to all aggrieved members of the APC in Rivers State to embrace reconciliation in order to increase the party's chances of winning the governorship and legislative election. Uche Okoro, TVC News, Port Harcourt.
Let's talk health now. Nigeria is in the process of manufacturing COVID-19 vaccines. Director General of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control revealed this during a press briefing in Lagos. Senior correspondent Ivy Kano reports.
Coming from a university background in the United States, the Director General was not ready for what she would face on assumption of office.
Directors don't have laptops. Said, hello, you don't have laptops? Okay. How do we even start talking of documentation? About 70 to 80% of our equipment were not working.
Undeterred, she went to work.
We started quality management system. We got trained for 18 months. We started global benchmarking. In 1 year, we paid 3.01 billion naira.
She also owes Nigerians the duty to eradicate and drastically reduce the influx of substandard drugs.
We found loopholes there where products may not even be tested at all, and they will bring them into the country. So we went in 2019 and we declared a riot act in India and China. That you want to trade with us, you bring something bad, you will be in trouble.
Though not a manufacturer, she confirms the success made so far by Nigeria in the manufacturing of COVID-19 vaccine.
We are working day and night to make sure that by the end of the year, we will start manufacturing of vaccine. That doesn't mean we'll produce completely developed vaccine. The minister has gone through different pathways, or is going through different pathways to ensure that this happens. But the government also has a PPP arrangement with May and Baker to form biovaccines. The government has 49%. May and Baker has 51%.
The NAFDAC DG also lamented that the approval numbers have been compromised by dubious characters.
We have to sensitize the public. You have to buy your product from where you have the best confidence. If it is too cheap to be true, very likely it is not true.
Media houses were also cautioned on the use of unauthorized herbal adverts in their organizations. Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
To the court, 2 men have been arraigned at the Federal High Court, Ikoyi, Lagos, for allegedly forging a Standards Organization of Nigeria receipt. Isong Michael and Ojo Samuel pleaded not guilty to the 3-count charge before Justice Tijani Ringim on Tuesday.
According to the Standards Organization of Nigeria, both defendants were said to have conspired to forge the SON receipt, knowing same to be false and with intent that it may be acted upon as genuine, thereby committing an offense contrary to and punishable under sections 465, 467, and 516 of the Criminal Code of Nigeria 2004. The alleged offenses were said to have been committed on March the 18th, 2022 at Olawole Market in Apapa. Only the first defendant was arraigned on the 3rd count that he allegedly evaded the payment of 14,700 naira as service charge payable to the agency, an offense contrary to and punishable under Section 31, subsection 1 of the SON Act 2015. If found guilty, the defendants risk a maximum sentence of 3 years imprisonment and a fine of not less than 1 million naira.
This offense is one too many for the organization because we have had several incidences of forgery, thereby denying the government of revenue. The organization do not take this lightly, and that was why we had to file a charge in order to send shock waves, because it's a syndicate. The organization is on its toes now, and we are ready for those syndicates. Sooner or later, all of them will be brought to book. So the matter has been adjourned till Tuesday next week. We are ready. The prosecution is eager to open its case, and let's see what the court will do thereafter.
I notified the Honorable Court that having their plea taken is one part, and their constitutional rights should also be considered, which is to put in their bail application, which the court appreciated and actually directed that by next week, the court will be ready to entertain the processes for their bail. The judge that actually had the matter today has just 1 week out of the 2 weeks vacation breaks. Then the other court is taking over.
The court adjourned to April the 19th for the matter to be heard by another vacation judge, Justice Abimbola Awogboro, and ordered that the defendants be remanded at the Ikoyi Correctional Center. Kemi Foladeyemo, TVC News, Lagos.
Outside Nigeria, several persons have been shot in a subway station in New York's Brooklyn. Authorities in New York City say a gunman shot multiple persons, leaving wounded commuters bleeding on a Brooklyn platform as others ran screaming. We have details in this report, after which we'll have business news with Tolulope Okunjabi.
Several people have been injured in a shooting during the morning rush hour at a New York City subway station. The unidentified attacker detonated a smoke bomb and opened fire at Brooklyn's 36th Street station. Officials are appealing for information about the gunman, who has fled the scene and is still at large. Police commissioner in New York said there were no life-threatening injuries. The shooter has not been identified, but describes the shooter as a black male, about 5 feet and 5 inches tall, with a heavy build.
I want to begin by assuring the public that there are currently no known explosive devices on our subway trains, and this is not being investigated as an act of terrorism at this time. We can also report that although this was a violent incident, reportedly we have no one with life-threatening injuries as a result of this case. This investigation is only hours old, so please note this information is subject to change.
According to the police, 5 people are in critical but stable condition. Officers are still working to establish a motive for the attack. Reacting to the incident, the mayor of New York says investigators believe it was a coordinated attack, but the motive remains unclear.
To today's incident, as of now, we have not found any live explosive devices, but the suspect in today's attack detonated smoke bombs to cause havoc. We will not allow New Yorkers to be terrorized, even by a single individual. NYPD is searching for the suspect at large, and we will find him.
So far, the search for the suspect continues. The shooting has caused numerous disruptions to the subway system in New York.